I don't know why that stopped, but I noticed that sometimes my camera stops at extremely punctuated moments, so I guess that's good. So we're talking about the keyword protect, 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 that comes up when cults or the cult capacity of families and groups comes around to cannibalizing themselves, cannibalizing the scapegoat, and consuming the scapegoat, and projecting on the scapegoat. This is the protection. That's all. This is projection. Right? And how everything becomes justified once enough people enter into the psychotic and hypnotic state. The orgy of violence begins. Wow, so right? It doesn't matter if the participants are like, "Oh, this is hard. We hate you." The fact is, they're gonna get what they want. The scapegoat isn't. They have to get what they want because their interests are absolutely contradictory to that of the scapegoat. The scapegoat's survival threatens their survival. The scapegoat wants to throw off the shackles of their projection. And this, in fact, challenges their sense of personal and group protection. Once the projection starts, once it's given enough power, once enough fear for survival is generated, boom. There's nothing the scapegoat can do. He's already consumed. Whether a week, 2 weeks, or the first 15 years of your life, it's inevitable. That is the deadly, deadly truth about human projection and scapegoating and cults. They lower their inhibitions, they're protecting everything they believe in, and people are lying. This woman lied and slandered because anything and everything gives them justification to lead people to believe that the scapegoat is a bad person, especially after forming intimate or sexually related ties at the lower chakras. It makes it even worse, right? When someone who's unethical in a group initiates aggressive or even consensual sexual contact and it loses their interest in you, and ethical matters pit your sense of right against their sense of right. Look what happens when these chakras and their own sense of survival are challenged by the person who essentially is being given the role of the scapegoat to pay for everything. All the incredible things about the cult aren't really doing for anybody. And the scapegoat, beneath all of their projections, basically says, hey, there's something wrong with you. There's something wrong with you. And I guess that's that. Make tracks. But yeah, I mean, this lingers for years. Only after he sexually assaulted me did he seem to have been evinced by me during our brief encounter that he should check to see if his assumptions were even correct. He hadn't done that beforehand because he hadn't been concerned enough about my well-being or the possibilities of all kinds of other things if he was wrong. He had lowered his ambitions. He couldn't believe that, oh, a woman could lie. Uh-oh. A woman could lie. And the longer you hang out, the worse it's going to get for you. My own family scapegoated me and has for years. You know, essentially, a couple of my siblings are still stalking me. And you'd have to get into a closer examination of what I mean by stalking. You know, once you've been scapegoated, it means that people have eliminated or lowered their inhibitions about adequate provisions for your voice and your safety. And it remains quite a chronic condition, even after critical bouts of violence have taken place, and almost especially so, because now they have more need than ever to protect themselves from shadow signs of their behavior or their group. And I found in my family, it's not really very good to try to put the blame on any one person. You know, the moral agency has essentially been placed on the scapegoat, even though they don't deserve it, and you certainly can't put it on anyone else. So nobody bears the moral agency. So the only real agency that I really can have is talking about it. Not forcing anyone to answer for it, not forcing anyone to be punished for it, but to seek as aggressively as I can to know just what it is. In as much as I've been given a lot of time to reflect upon the extremely shocking events of my life, and given to make such words and sounds as seem to convince me at times that there's something worth doing. I've been in shock for 2 or 3 days. Pissed not quite as much, shat really well, and about 20 minutes or so from home. Nervy from the caffeine, but just anxiety and stress. A good day for me. I mean, I think I have a good relationship with people. First 50 days. Disgusting story. Like that, the trees were the first things to tell me that something was wrong. And I left. Energetically, that place is wrong. It's completely skewed. So the ownership or whatever complement of people who inhabit that place on a professional basis, it is a skewed environment. Ugh, my rum shelf's there. I feel like vomiting just walking by. I mean, it's a sickness. I've had so many, and many people have had so many negative experiences in that store. It's just unbelievable. It's only, I'm jealous that people that don't have these experiences. I wish they were you. Better if I think I moved once every 10 years. Again, scapegoating isn't something that could ask someone to take the agency. Well, it's corporation, it's doing a corporation. I mean, you can kind of be more aggressive than that. I mean, BC Transit knows they're never going to see me on a bus again. At the end of the day, that's all they need to know. They don't really give a fuck about anything else. They got 58 million other passengers to think about. That's the point. You have 58 million passengers a year. Just think about how we could roughly multiply your shitty behavior to include people among whom most of them would never fucking complain at all. for fear of exactly what I encountered. Abject, placating, denial, deflection, and reversion of responsibility. Well, it sounds like you're deflecting from the bus driver's capability. If you want to do that, that's fine. That's your prerogative. Sickness. You might as well admit it. You've been around human sickness. It's disgusting. You think, should people have to? People in a cult can do all kinds of things. People who have learned to live and work in various cults can, one and together, support each other in accomplishing things which no one would ever normally do, just like a religion does a bald ego. They just can. What are you going to do about it? Learn. You're better than they are. You're stronger than they are. Be strong every day. Try not to be too afraid. Stand up for yourself. It's never enough. It's a shit-tide tsunami of human perversion in the world. It's not just abstract. It's not just out there. It's everywhere. You love those close to you all the more. Do you not? You do preserve what is good for you all the more against such things as we can but abhor the most about all the things that could be considered unnecessary, fatuous, deceptive, disgusting, and barbaric devices and circumstances which any human being, much less all of them, are forced to bear. And bearing such, leave themselves open and dispose themselves to activities, though they know it not, and almost especially so, that can do and do all of the greatest harm in the world that we can do to each other. A little bit of a headache the last 2 or 3 days, last night, so you can tell I'm being energetically attacked. And not seeing any police cars from today, that's good. All day without them, pleasant. But feeling bloodsick and I've got blood poisoning essentially. All demons come back in. Nice. And essentially sickened. It made me sick. These people could have given me cancer. They're sick. I remember I got on the bus so many times and end up shopping different places. I thought, it's not worth it. I don't care how healthy this store comes to be. These people are sick. I don't care if it's GMO free. I'd rather eat anything else than be around these people. And now I'm going to spend years, possibly another 2 years or more, basically processing all of the sickness that I soaked up in the course of basically setting my boundaries and leaving all types of things that I had chosen to be around or shop over my life, and finding in a roundabout way the vindication of many of my earlier suspicions, and my first suspicions about people, places, and things. And the buses themselves always had a sickening value, which is like an excessive yin value, cold. Like there's a coldness about them. There's coldness about their bus system. It's tremendously cold. The buses are cold. For Canada, they're cold. The drivers are cold. They have poetry on the bus all the time. One day I made the mistake of mentioning it to the bus driver and just saying how much I liked it. He said, "What poetry?" What poetry, right? They've had it on their buses for years. And even though they spend hours and hours a day on their buses, had never noticed that there was poetry inside his own bus. Is it any wonder that they can't pick up garbage? Is it any wonder they don't maybe do a walk around to see if any of the windows are loose? Because it's just a job for them. These are all ways that they can improve, but I dare say, I doubt very much that they will. From the laissez-faire attitude to critical conditions of human well-being involved in being able to do their job, say the last bus home type of thing, noticing who's standing there, thinking about and showing that they thought about the consequences of leaving children stranded when the last bus of the home just passes them by in broad daylight. Right? You just don't see that. You talk to their office like, "Oh, okay, I'll let someone know." That's an occupational hazard. Right? as soon as I noticed that, I said, "Oh boy, it's fascinating." Just walked right in to see them. So they literally pulled in and then pulled out. Pulled in and pulled out. Two of them. Pulled in, pulled out. See if they show up down here. I have to say, "Hey Dad, I think you scapegoated me." And people that are scapegoating don't know what they're doing. And maybe that's where the compassion comes in. Something like this guy at the store, Mike, like he disappeared from my career for a few days. I thought, oh, fucking finally. You know? And then it just all turns out again. It's like, holy fuck. This one person was stalking me for 10 years. This guy is still stalking me. Essentially. Like, if you stopped, it would stop faster. You know? And I was outside the store last night. And let's see if we see the police cars coming down the highway. And this is 2 years after the fact. I haven't even gone into the area. Right? Staying away. And the manager comes out, goes back in, and a young man comes out and starts glaring at me. And I'm recording, but I feel scared in a moment. And then it sneaks up on me, and I tell them, I don't want to sue you. This is what I could sue you for. This is not, I think this would be good for anybody. Do you understand? Like, this has to stop. I have to be able to do business. I have to be able to go about my life. I don't wish you any harm. I don't like you. And it sort of slowed down for a bit. But the very next day I was out, I didn't tell my mom I wrote this. Right? She had no conscious knowledge. Shopping in there, and that same young man made her feel uncomfortable. Right? There's 2 honks. Right? Finished. Over. Right? Completion. We'll see what that means. And it's like, I'm going to come on this funeral today because I don't want to. Right? I think the police are stalking me, basically. I've just seen them pop in and around the last few weeks and months. It's just a different feeling. Go this way. I'm going to go around this way. And, abnormal shit. Hey, Mom, I'm coming home. But she was shopping, getting some bread. And I could tell you the conversation's not important. But she had to say to the guy, look, I'm not comfortable with this. And I suspect they know that she's my mom. But whether they do or not, you can understand, like, this guy's probably like 18, 19 years old. What the fuck does he have to do with anything? You know? But this manager is slandering me in some way. This fucker, right? It's like, holy shit. My mom's like, my mom has never come home from shopping, ever, in her life and said that someone at such and such a place made her feel uncomfortable for any reason. And this doesn't matter just what someone says. It's just how you feel talking to them. You know what I mean? I didn't tell them this. But it's like, it basically tells you what's going on, doesn't it? And it's like, is it demonic? Is it some kind of other energy? What is it? Right? I'll come out this way. I'll have to use a mask then. Is it demonic? What is it? What is going on here? Right? My mom has never, ever been, it helps to divert my mind to other things. My mom has never come home and said, someone in a shop made her feel uncomfortable. top of which she said that in that same month, somebody, probably a young person, was using her credit card information to download free music or free streaming. She got it back on her credit card, had to go through the process of getting a new credit card. I don't know if this guy's involved. It had the word Steph, so I know it's probably Steven. All she has to do is find out his name. I'd be interested to know if one day, I don't want to tell her, it's like, if one day it comes out, I'd be like, huh, interesting. Maybe he involves people in conversations. Maybe the reason it felt bad was because he was trying to get her to lower her guard. Right? Because maybe, like the manager, he is a degenerate of some kind. Right? Maybe the person who stole her card didn't so much need the money as they just wanted to be impish. You know, in so much as one predator can incite the lowered inhibitions of another and sort of paint somebody. So what are the chances, though, that my mom, for the first time in her life, within 24 hours of making this complaint, would feel uncomfortable shopping in that same store because of the same person involved in the complaint? Right? And I'm not even sure if they know she's my mom. Right? I never told her this, but it's like, that was one of the creepiest things I've ever seen in my life. And you almost don't. Hi! Are you wearing that thing around? Oh, I left my collar at home today. How you doing? Yeah. I've never told her. I told them. Goodness gracious. What time is it? Oh, good. It's not too far past 3. Excellent.